you will live through it, and you will be better for it. When the Lord chastises us, we would be wise to welcome that chastisement, because he said in his word, he only chastises those who are his own, his children. If you're not being chastised, corrected by the Lord, then you might want to ask yourself, am I unknown to God? Am I not his child? Because the word says that it's a bastard that doesn't get chastised. That's the word. That's the word of God saying that. Right? So if he's chastising you, you have some trials, tribulations, the testing, count it all joy. That's what the word says. Count it all joy. I would rather be corrected now than to go on in life doing something the wrong way and then finding out that, oh, you mean, wait a minute, that means I won't be able to go with the Lord? Because no. I want to give you, I want to just give you a personal experience that happened to me this week. I ordered something, uh, and it was delivered to a neighbor down a couple of houses away from me. And of course, I got on the phone and I said, hey, this thing I ordered wasn't delivered to me, but you said it was delivered. And this certain company out there, they send you a picture of where it was delivered to. And I said, listen, that's not my house. It's not mine. And they said, okay, no problem. We'll give you a refund. Right. So they processed the refund, and I saw the refund being, I saw it almost immediately being, I got the confirmation, of the refund. Then, like 2 hours later, my neighbor comes and brings the package to me. And this was no small, I'm, something a little in the neighborhood of $100. So the neighbor brings it to me. He says, "Oh, this was delivered to me, but I knew you, so I brought it to you." Now, right? You know what I'm thinking, right? There's some people that think, oh, they've already processed the refund, so I could keep the item and just, get and have the refund. And yeah, well, no, because I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to be at the judgment gate, right? And God say, hey, you got that item and you still kept the money. So I immediately called those people and told them, hey, listen, my neighbor brought the package, and please, I said, please reverse the refund. I don't want it. Take your, I don't want it, because I don't want to go to hell over, less than $200. That's not what I want to, that is not the hill that I want to die on. Right? So we need to just, I'm saying all this because I have said to these neighbors, right? I've been professing my faith, my walk with the Lord, but I'm not ashamed of the gospel. This is one instance, and we are tested, we are tried, and what would have happened if I'd kept that? Now, I might have maybe thought, oh, I'm going to get away with it, right? But then you know what would happen? This has happened in your own life. A week, 2 weeks, a month down the road, all four tires would blow out. Right, on the car, all four tires all at once, and it would cost me, $1,000,000,000 to have to get it replaced. That's the chastisement. That's the chastisement. That's the trial, the tribulation, the test. So there I had a test. Would I keep that refund? No, I really didn't entertain the idea of keeping it, but it was just an example, of where we're tested, how we're tried. And the Lord said we will have to give an account for every idle word and thought and deed, even. So this is all about examining ourselves. Can we become better? Because yes, we all have room to be better. And by better, I'm talking about in the in God's eyes of perfection. Because remember, he even said that Noah was just and perfect. Noah was uh, righteous. And what did he say after that? It was because Noah was obedient and followed directions. Imagine you're going to give directions to someone and he gave explicit directions, explicit detail to Noah about how to build that ark. That to me tells me that number one, he trusted Noah to carry out every detail of his instructions. Some of us wonder, well, how come I'm not given the leadership role? How come I don't get to have this? And how? Well, could you be trusted with that position? Have you been able to follow the commands of God? Because, and just so I started all of this out by saying, many of us, they'll follow the rules of, government for the most part, follow the rules of, some leader that somebody's following. I mean, Lord have mercy. People were doing all kinds of hideous, hideous things in Germany. Saying what? What did they say? I was just following instructions. I was just following orders. How many hideous, destructive, deceitful, murderous, blasphemous actions have been done claiming I was just following orders. And many people followed orders of evil. They follow orders of many different governments, organizations, secret societies, clubs, groups, but don't want to follow the rules of the Lord, the person who's created you, made you, sustained you, upheld you, and gives you breath. But these people who do nothing for you, who will cut you off in an instant, who will disown you, and in some cases dismember you. We've all heard of a person that was dismembered at the mere hint of your not being loyal to them. And yet God, we want to crucify God over and over again. We want to blaspheme God. Oh, I'm angry with God. Who is God? Is there a God? All this nasty, ugly talk about a God who is still being patient with you, still holding you, still providing for you, still being merciful, still forgiving you when you come to him. This is this examination that we need to do. We need to really get real, people. All of us, myself included. So then, I this is just part of it, right? But in order for us to do so, we must be willing to understand what the Lord is saying. So then Paul goes on to say further, for I'm not ashamed in verse 16. And then he goes on in verse 17. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith. As it is written, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness. The wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Isn't that what's happening today? Really? People are calling up down. Left is being referred to as right. Right is left. right? They'll soon be telling us the sky is not blue and the sun doesn't rise in the east. And there are people who are going along and believing this. The truth is a lie, and facts can be manipulated. There are people who talk about alternative facts. Really? Alternative facts? Okay. Um, you know, good is bad, bad is good, fat is good. I mean, there's some phrases out there that were at first kind of confusing to me. Like some of the slang, right? They would say fat, and that was supposed to be good. And of course, way back in the day, oh, that's bad, right? And it actually meant good. That was a good thing, right? So I mean, and those was just kind of playful little things on words, right? And we thought that that was innocent. But then look where it has evolved to. Look where it has evolved to. Your truth is truth. My truth is truth. Everybody's got truth, but not the real truth. There is no real truth. It's all subjective, right? So if I commit a murder, it's subjective. Well, if I don't call it murder, that's not my definition of murder. Your definition of murder, well, it's all subjective, right? So why should I be punished? I mean, is this why we're having problems today, punishing people who've committed wrongs? Yeah, because people are splitting hairs. I think the Lord says it. The Lord calls it straining at a gnat while swallowing the camel. Right? Splitting hairs, straining at a gnat while swallowing. People are debating things like Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss in the context of making governance of making laws. And these are the things that are bothering you. What about the sin, the deceit, the murder? What about the inequality in folks having health care and having houses to live in, or places that are decent to live in? What about making sure that every person has food? There's enough food that is wasted in this country, United States alone, to feed probably half the world. There's enough hoarding going on, in various households, Christians as well, with all kinds of manner of goods, not just Christians, but other people hoarding. Some people have 10 houses, right? And then there are some people that don't even have a box to live in. Let's talk about that. Because the Lord said, if you do unto the least of mine, then you have done to me. The Lord said that true religion, true Christianity, true love of God is taking care of the widow, the poor, the frail, the infirm. Are we doing that? Are we truly God-fearing people? No. Have we made ourselves to be God above God? Because it's our way or the highway? If you're feeling a little passion from me right here, it's because I, I have some, right? So Paul goes on and he says, in verse 19, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it unto them, right? In answer to verse 18, they know, many people, even atheists, who say they don't believe in God, there is no God, blah, 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 blah. God has put in our spirit, because remember, we're part of Him. He blew His spirit into Adam. Even though we're far away from His desired, we still have in our heart, in our knower, in our gut, in our belly, in our heart, even in our people who are so intelligent, they have astronomical IQs, right? Even they know that there is a God. There is something, someone, some being that is higher than they. They know that there's too much order in what was supposed to be a chaotic beginning of this world, of this universe. There's too much order. There's too much pattern. There's too much consistency for it to have been happenstance, by accident, right? People look at the sky and they know intuitively in their gut, right? There is a God. There is some supernatural being people talk about, well, we're living